Thank you very much. In the past decade, there's been a tectonic shift in the way advertising is being done. And a lot of independent agencies have been at the forefront of this change, driving it. From being the first to adopt to new technologies, to winning global and Indian mandates, very large global and Indian mandates, from being the first to finding opportunities in Bharat and leveraging that, to creating cultures which has attracted some of the best talent. Mr. Sam Balsara also spoke about the challenges around remuneration and talent, and we'll deep dive into that as well. But let me begin on a winning note. A lot of independent agencies have been winning very large mandates, which traditionally have been parked with network agencies. And I would like to bring in Chaaya into this discussion and ask her, what is that USP? What is that secret sauce that independent agencies are able to offer and win such large mandates today?
Hi everyone, and thanks Aftab for starting with me. That was a surprise. Okay, I think one key thing is that we independent agencies are able to provide more personalized attention, and for us, see, our accounts are bread and butter, and we want to scale. There is a hunger for growth. I think the service levels that we offer to some of these accounts are definitely far superior. The personalized attention, the accountability that we have, and including the involvement of people like me, the founder themselves, we get involved. And on the other hand, there is the why would they move? I think there is a dissatisfaction definitely. We do hear did not deliver, was not up to the mark. And I think that is a primary reason why, today we are well poised. On the other aspect, from what are our strengths? I think all independent agencies have sort of come of age, mature enough, are able to handle strategically accounts, moving from just probably being executing, something or taking hand-me-downs. Okay, here is a plan and we want to spend 10% of this on digital. Digital has become the main medium for the brand's performance.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the key, reasons.
Great. So digital born, strategic in insight now. Prasad, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, thanks. I think I resonate with what Chaya talked about. But first and foremost, I think I have to really accept here it is not as easy that we think, right? There are. Let's understand it is not easy. Like maybe there are few cases where probably, and I think the definition of when you are saying independent, those who are not part of the big
Network.
ones is the definition, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the definition that we are talking about, right? So they have advantage of being big, but at the same time, along with the big, the agility gets a bit compromised. Okay, so I think agile is something you also talk about. Another one, what Sam was talking about, independent agencies. The founder being so close to the action, I think his or her ability to track changes and probably add the tadka of strategic consulting on top of it at a free cost, okay, sort of becomes very critical, and that is where it really works onto it, right? And I'm quite sure when the price games get played, the tendency of having sets of B2B services, one should never work where there is no profit at the at the bottom line. But nevertheless, we all of us try to get into a space wherein if you're getting a big brand, then we agree to a price. So, we sort of cut down on our price also. You like it, you don't like it, but this is what it happens. So these are a few things: strategic consulting brains, personalized attention, and all of those have their own negatives also. Okay, but that is where I think the brands get a great value,
Yeah.
okay, with the independent agencies. That's what I see.
Okay.
No,
Prasad mentioned about big is better, and I'll let you add to it.
Big is better.
We'll come to that, especially from a media perspective, because a lot of independent agencies have challenges on the media front and also on the remuneration front. But Shai, would you add?
Yeah,
like to
I
add?
just wanted to add one thing basis what he just said. We should all note that they don't move because we are cheaper. They'll never move because we give a price advantage. In fact, I think we would have all increased the pricing, and I have been very surprised that this is the pricing at which they were working. I have myself told at this price, you would have never got results in any case.
Correct. So great message there that undercutting is not the way. for independent agencies. It's about the value that you're providing. Siddharth, would you like to add
Yeah, I
something
think
to it?
Chaaya, absolutely bang on. Like, I don't think we won any recent pitch, from a network agency merely on price, right? It's about the delta and the value creation. Of course, it starts with personalized, there's a face to it and so on, but also the sheer amount of hunger independent agencies have. And throughout the hierarchy, independent agencies have far more hunger, and that makes us able to probably customize and make it very specific to the client's use case, the brand's use case, in case of things like fee model or team structures. Whereas I think the networks have to comply by some mandates and some internal policies, and we are much easier internally to bend those rules and be able to deliver wherever it needs.
So not being cookie cutter in a lot of things that we do. Shradha, would you like to add something to that?
So I think I completely agree with you guys. It's the passion of the owner who's driving it a lot of times. So I call myself generally the chote, not the chotu. The chote who basically will get the job done, right? You tell him the job and the job is done. Apart from that, I think also the sheer agility that we have, right? For example, I was speaking to a lot of my team members as well as my clients, and I asked them how much time do we spend on approving a topical post in a year? And we are doing some hundreds of topical posts. And every morning, 6 a.m., we are not celebrating Diwali. The entire world is celebrating Diwali because we are approving the post or getting the changes done, right? What is a topical strategy? How much do you spend in terms of effort, time, money in a year on topical strategy? Which one should you choose? Which one should you not choose? What should be your creative budget? What should be your media budget? What should be the KPI for that? We don't have answers to that. In Grapes, we are able to create such models. And that's where I think independent agency also have that agility and dynamism to create newer models which are not there in the market to offer to their clients, which client gets attracted to at the point also. So that's another piece.
Okay, fair. With all these good secret sauces that independent agencies have, there are some challenges, and challenges also when it comes to remuneration, which Mr. Balsara also spoke about. Chaaya would like to give some perspective on that in terms of how, undercutting you mentioned is not the way, and how possibly agencies could unite, independent agencies could put a more united front to ensure that pricing is fair.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Aftab, really. And even backstage when we were discussing, and Mr. Balsara also spoke about, agencies coming together is one key answer for us to thrive, survive and thrive. And I think over here we all know the kind of pricing we do, and it would be great when more and more agencies sort of collect together and we can form forums and not drop pricing. And like Mr. Balsara said, I was just thinking that we were just discussing that and he is talking about the same thing. Instead of increasing your retainer, for example, year on year, with your cost is increased, you're giving appraisals, brands start negotiating, okay, and or they say we are doing cost cutting. Okay, of course everybody is doing cost cutting, but there is a cost you have to pay for. I think we need to, like he said, learn to walk out, learn to say no, and also, we should operate as as a team. We should not take away business from each other on pricing. Do it on other aspects, but not on pricing. And if we are together, like all those stories we've heard when we were small, once pencil will break, but together we stand. I think that will really help. And, I would urge, even other independent agencies sitting over here to come forward and we form a group and we have certain, norms on, what we will stick together to.
Correct. Prasad, when it comes to media, it's a lot challenging for emerging independent agencies to maybe offer those kind of commission structures to brands, and brands have a way of dealing with networks which cannot be possibly replicated easily. So what is the model? How do you navigate that at LS?
See, I think first and foremost, I think I have a contrary view to what you have said, right? Okay. First and foremost, I think big is beautiful, right? Okay. That I keep saying, in a way, this is how probably I see the world. What happens is that the one person R that I'm going to hire, the cost to us, right? Okay, the salary cost is sort of same to a consulting firm or any one of the bigger one. Okay, what matters is that the per person revenue, okay, which we get and probably someone else gets it, right? Okay, So what happens from a typical Michael Porter's strategy of industry strategies? I think the game is the rules have been set by the biggies, and all of us are playing that rules. Okay, and we are not going to win that rule under that one. Okay, what I mean by is that if the rule is that my pricing is the percentage of fee managed. Okay, if someone is managing 1,000 crore and asking 1% or half a percent or whatever percent is that. Okay, and if I'm managing 10 crore, can go with the same talented people is not going to work. So I think coming everyone together, you'll always find one person who would cut it. It's a different thing, whether how it works, what benefit client will get, not get, whatever it is, right? But I think we have to work somehow. What probably consulting firm and McKinsey's are working on to it. Can we change the rules? We can't beat biggies with the rules that they have set for years. Okay, that's and how to change those rules. What is it that we are talking about the value adds. Okay, how do I get those into it with a different pricing structure? It's a very early time, but what we're saying, those consulting firms get, I don't know how many P by E ratios of 30, 40, 50, whatever they get it, and the media agencies get sub 10. Okay, the difference is many other times people can't even tell, okay, what's going to be my predictability of the revenue next quarter, and how would I be able to get valued. Forget about the external investors also, to my board members also. Okay, so there is something fundamentally that we need to change on, right? Okay, we can have a wishful thinking, everyone coming together, but ultimately the सामने वाला जो है, okay, he will say तू नहीं तो दूसरा कोई नहीं तो whoever does it, right? Okay, so we can come together and die together by not picking up accounts, right? Or we can come together and try to change the structures somehow.
So changing the rules by
You
possibly
have to
adding
change
more
the
value.
rules. You can't play the rules which biggies have put together. It's in their advantage. Or you become a big and play the same rule.
So how is LS Digital approaching that?
See, that's our story. We are around now 1,300 odd people, right? Okay, we have sort of got 3 companies on board. Okay, and my revenue now. I'm on record, okay, but my media revenue is now less than 50%, okay, right? While it is growing from the CAGR of 70-75%, for last 7 odd years, right? So the whole thing is that how do I put a consulting approach on top of it and split the services and and present it. So that is something that we are working on, okay, and that is where the second question that you asked. Right, it's the rule is also sort of set up by the publishers, right? And sometimes the VDs that you get, okay, if you're not big, you're not going to get those. No matter how much you cry, no matter how much presentation that you know, that is the rule that they have set, right? Okay, and that rule, okay, we have to all of us have. But now, what can we come together and have one more kitty and say that my kitty is bigger and that's the reason? And that's a good one. I think we should discuss on that. Okay,
That's
so
a good thought,
excellent one. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This block represents the remaining block, which is bigger than the block that you are interacting with, right?
Fair. So that's a
An
good
interest-
thought. Yeah.
It's a very interesting
Very
thought.
powerful thought.
Very, very interesting thought.
And Siddharth, what is your perspective? How do independent agencies navigate some of these challenges, and what challenges possibly you have faced?
I think one of the challenge which we repetitively face is the might and the brand value of the network agencies, right? So when you think of it from a brand manager who's about to take a call, it turns out to be a very safe decision to go with a network, and it feels from his perspective or her perspective that it's a riskier proposition to go with an independent one. But on the flip side, I think another trend which is when there is an agency, there's an AOR, and the brands are still open to doing one-off campaigns with independent agencies like us, that gives us an edge. So the kind of advantage which they have in terms of being a safe choice because of the ability of them to do one-off campaigns with independent agencies or smaller agencies, that gives us a bit of foot in the door and a way to show them our value proposition. And in fact, in our history, a lot of our wins have actually come because of this model.
Okay, great. Shradha, would you like to add to that?
I think while Sam touched upon, how media agencies are being compromised on the media commissions that they're making as an overall thing, I think there is a larger challenge also with digital agencies. I remember I was speaking to a very large group and they said, while offline agencies will enjoy 10, 15 lakh rupees of retainer, or let's say whatever, 15 to 20 lakh rupees of retainer, digital should come from 50,000 rupees to 4 lakh rupees, right? what are you doing? You're just adding two another bachas to the team, and they're going to execute what the offline team is going to give you. So, whereas if the print ad falls sad on the offline agency, the brief will come to the digital agency. If the TVC script was not great, it will still come to the digital agency. Both the agencies are working on the brief, but the money will go to the one who's gets selected. And we are already paying for the salaries of those resources, right? So somewhere, some remuneration benchmarking should definitely come for digital retainers. And digital is the larger pie which is coming up, which is a huge problem today from the overall perspective. Second, like we said, that you know what, if you want the right output, you need the right talent. And getting resources at 25,000 rupees, 35,000 rupees, where you have to pay seat cost also, and then you have to make some revenue. So I remember sitting with a commercial team, and unka KRA hota hai. They want to reduce the cost by 30% flat. Single KRA, any commercial team you talk to, right? Now, when you sit with them and you say that, boss, I want to operate I'm a L1, technically I'm T1, let's say, but I'm at L2, which is the price point. They'll be like, you have to reduce the cost by 30%. What do? So you showcase, this is the SAW, this is the resource cost. Even if you play very fair, this is the salary I'm paying, this is my seat cost, this is the profit that I want to make, they don't want to hear that. They want to further reduce your 15% to 8%. They want to reduce your seat cost. They're saying the seat cost is too high. Dude, you're not running my office. You can't tell me my seat cost, right? And they are also not okay with the benchmarking of CTC. I get people at less CTC and I pay 4% appraisals. How are you paying 25% appraisals? So there's a huge challenge when it comes to execution of things like this. Somewhere people need to understand that it's your job to reduce cost, but not kill the cost that you won't get the results.
Correct. Shradha, I think that is exactly what I'm coming from. None of the parameters that you have talked about are under our control. Even if, Sam, you also talked about, the benchmarks, right? Even if we decide, there'll be some Accenture or some private equity will pick up those brilliant people. Or if not those, some Cadbury or some Unilever will pick those one. Okay, so these are the constraints, right? These are the constraints that we have. Okay, there are, if you're going to earn, we have to have some different structures, and that is where probably what consulting firms are doing. Okay, but at the same time, why would a procurement guy give me higher money? That's the problem that I think we should be concentrating how we solve. Everyone is going to solve that problem in different way. Right. Someone is going to have better value, okay, or better service. But better service is also has to be measurable. You can't just say I'm better service because I have got some 10 awards or something like that. Okay, correct. Someone will say I have 13 awards and I can do half the price. Correct. So that somewhere is a structure that we'll have to work on, and I think that is where I think we are also working on. How do I
speaking on structures? A lot of independent agencies today are wishing to stay independent and not being acquired or partnering with networks as much as we saw some years prior to this. Siddharth, you mentioned about cookie cutter, and that is something that comes to mind in terms of how the network model of acquisition is. So would you like to share if, SoCheers or in general about the network model of acquisition, or what growth possibilities are there for independent agencies going forward?
So yeah, definitely, it's a cookie cutter approach, and as a founder, right, my agency brand name is very, very close to me, and the sheer thought that getting acquired and the brand will get killed in a couple of years gives me shudders, right? And all the more, it's been just a week, 10 days that we heard the news about the most legacy brands in advertising being killed, right? So I think that would be one, definitely a very an emotional reason to stay independent. Sure. But again, beyond that, from a business perspective, like I was talking about, you spoke about the agility, right? The agility is really our advantage by nature of us being independent, right? It has to be the value proposition for the brand has to come from that agility and from the flexibility, and that is why we continue to be picked over network agencies in a lot of the business that we win. So yeah, I think that would be the reason to largely stay independent.
Chaaya, what about you? In terms of future growth prospects and scaling up, what models today? There are many more models in just partnering with the network.
Right. I think one is consolidation. Like what he's actually doing, he's himself acquiring. LS Digital is acquiring agencies. I think that is one great thing. Other, I do not know, but I feel maybe there is a future where digital agencies are going to merge. I do not know if any one of us are already talking, but I think mergers could happen because there is a definite desire to be independent, and also for whatever reason, I think also mergers and acquisitions might, especially global agencies buying out independent agencies, there's going to be a pause because I think they've all built their own skills and they've acquired whom they want to. So since that is going to happen and digital is growing and we need muscle power ultimately, I think mergers is could be the reason for scaling up.
A lot of mergers. I'll come to Prasad in a bit on the LS model, but Shradha, your perspectives on scaling up for independent agencies, founders, with networks or without networks. What are your thoughts on that?
I think both of them are great. You need to understand your own personal goals as an entrepreneur, right? I follow a lifestyle law, okay, which I created myself in my head. Now, what I did was basically I got a financial guy who came to me and said, okay, let me see how much money or resources do you need by 2050. So he asked me how much do I spend on a monthly basis in my household stuff, how much jewelry do I buy, how much trips do you want, daughters, what money do you want to spend on their education, their wedding, and stuff like that. And it came to a lump sum amount. Now let's understand on a monthly basis, what I think as a lifestyle of me, you don't need more than 4-5 lakhs. After that, what will happen if you're buying Tommy Hilfiger and Zara and Pramod, it will move to Ted Baker. Then it will move to, let's say, a Burberry and a Louis Vuitton. It will move to a Hermes and a Chanel. Your cars will be the same. You'll see a movie at PVR Director Cart. You will drive a Audi, BMW. Your lifestyle is going to be pretty much decent, right? What you're trying to do after that is just upgrading your brand. Now, as an entrepreneur, if I'm selling myself to someone else completely and losing my name, right, is that going to improve my lifestyle drastically? No, right? So you need to choose what's your personal goal as an entrepreneur. Do you want to make that business grow to a scale that you feel, dude, I did this. I made this amount, I made this business. This is where I've reached. This reached so many countries. That's the hunger and passion that you want in yourself, right? And with that hunger and passion, you whether merge with a network agency and still continue to do that, whether the names are merged or not, that's a separate call. That's a call that you take when it's on the table. But you should define what you want for yourself. And I don't think the question of, sorry, but losing name, I think I lost my surname when we get married. I didn't. Actually, my husband is very hardly trying to put his surname on my Aadhaar card, which I'm not letting him do. We're used to losing our names also, right? I moved from my nickname Ricky to Shradha, and I'm losing my surname because I got married. It's okay. Let's be true to our passion than just getting a little emotional about the name.
Shradha, I'll add to that. Name is one aspect, but also is there some inspiration in being Bharatiya or being Indian born and Indian owned and Indian made as an entrepreneur while you're thinking about these decisions?
Completely. I'll give you a very random example. हम कहते थे, sorry if everybody's okay with Hindi, right? Okay, I'll use some words. I don't know if some women get offended by that. When we used to go to Europe and US, right, we used to say, yaar, sari maal tota lagti hai yahan pe. Everybody is hot. Everybody is good looking, right? Everybody is smart. Why? Because they knew how to carry themselves. It was not about the complexion, the body structure. They knew how to carry themselves. Now you go to a Delhi mall, everybody is hot. Everybody is tota, right? You go to a Bombay mall, Jio ka bhi launch hua tha. Everybody was tota. Now how do you do that, right? You do that because you know your potential. India is not a taboo. It's a tag that you should carry with pride. I remember myself 5 years back when I got my money as an entrepreneur, I was very happy buying the first brand as a Louis Vuitton bag, right? And then I realized after 5 years when I saw this in-home grown brand on Instagram, I was very happy carrying that brand also. So
great. I think that's maybe a unanimous thing across that by being independent, by being India owned, that's also a sense of inspiration personally as entrepreneurs for all of us. But let me come to the LS digital model because that's a very unique model of growth for independent agencies. So Prasad, would you like to share a bit about it?
Yeah,
How does it go about
you
it?
got me thinking a lot, Shradha. Thank you very much. Goosebump moment for me when you said that losing the name wala perspective. Okay, because absolutely, because as a man, I never have seriously again one more time goosebumps. But I'll talk about the smell of the money. Okay, is very intoxicating. Okay, let's understand that. Okay, so I will no matter whatever I say sitting here. Okay, if there was a call has to be made that someone says that I'm going to get 100 crore tomorrow in my bank account, I would have I would do that, okay? I would have done it, okay? There was an opportunity. But why you don't do it, and okay, is something, then there are a lot of aspects of stuff that I think companies, it happened with me also, it is the last moment I said no to, some of you know about it, right? Okay, to a big network, right? So I think it was more of an independence that I was talking about. A. Second one, I think what we saw is that if you see any, and with all due respect to all my friends in the network agency, big network agencies also I'm talking about, is that, see, we have absolute talent, okay? None of the Goras, I'm sorry for it, I'm on record here, but none of the parent companies person here in, I'm extremely sorry, ex, none of the parent companies top management sitting here, and because all the management, we have all of those are friends, right, are running here, right? So talent majboot bhara pada hua hai, right? It's just that what lacks is the dream, right? Okay, and how do I get that dream, okay, together, okay? The same people who are sitting on your panel, okay, when I talk to them, okay, everyone wanted money, okay, I'm talking about our structure, wanted money, okay, they had dream, okay, so they wanted to be part of the dream, okay. At the same time, I think everyone has to understand is that I understand lifestyle 5 lakhs rupees, okay, but at the end of it, when I'm 50 plus now, okay, is that age ke saath na, okay, someday you have to also plan your exit. You get what I'm coming from. You can't run it all the time, right? Okay, if you put all that together, and if independence was getting compromised and the dream was getting compromised, is there a different alternative that we can create? Is the thought process that I came up with, right? And that thought process has to be, money has to be on the table. I can be very proud saying that I'm following a dream. I'm sorry I'm saying it, okay, but at the same time, okay, you need to have money on the table. How do I solve that problem of good agencies, okay, across 6 areas that we work with, okay? That's a song. So what we did is that, unlike the standard format wherein you get an earn-out, what we do, okay, we are, if we are a reasonably sized company where probably, we should have an exit in a IPO market, okay? Is that a visibility that I get in next 2 to 3 years time frame, okay, with doing something, is the thought process that I have, right? Now what we did is that, okay, some X%, 50-60% is the cash that I give, okay, and remaining he gets a share, he or she, sorry for it, okay, get a part of the group companies that way. Now I know what sort of a Sam, what we were also thinking is that can I create some sort of a consulting tadka on top of it, so that the stock market gives us better valuation because of the predictability and the services models that we have, which is not for India but globally one. If that can happen, okay, then the exit that everyone going to have is an absolutely fantastic one. Plus, what you do is that you get, the lucky part of it is that you get a lot of great entrepreneurs, okay, with a great background and a vertical skill sets. So that's a top leadership that you built it. And it attracts the talent also. So, everything starts working. Hopefully it's been working. We have now 3 companies, have come on board with us. One is Social Panga, which is in, creative. Langur is in CX, and F1 Studios in UI UX. And integration is, touch wood, work fantastically well, because everyone sees that if we all of us grow, then we will have an, so to say, we would have lived with our dream and great exit, okay? So that's the one. It is very not like what 5 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever you negotiate as a one, because then you start thinking, hey, is quarter mein, is mahine mein, is year mein, what is my EBIT and what multiple that I get, and then finish your audit by the end of the 5 years properly. And we know some of our friends also fighting with that also, audits not happening and all that stuff, but and get money and then exit. Okay, so get a proper exit with dream also happening.
So that's a great model.
And I think that is also coming from that merged concept, right? We never called acquired. We never say it. I said they are on board with group company. Okay, so that we have to get out of it. You never say it. They are partners.
Yeah. So money on the table, dream, and the choice of word. I think all 3 are important in this model, which is certainly very exciting. So exciting times for the independent agency ecosystem. With that, we'll come to the close of the panel. But I would love to take a one-line advice from all 4 of you for independent agency founders. So Shradha, if you had to give one-line advice, what would it be?
if you want to scale, don't work in the business, work on the business. I learned that very hard way because I was so engrossed in operations. I never thought how will I increase revenue. I took that as a lesson, and in 3 years the numbers were tremendous. So work on the business, not in the business.
Great. Siddharth, for you?
I think mine would be a little plagiarized, so sorry for that. It would be stay hungry, stay foolish.
Fantastic.
I would say, I think I have learned the very hard way that we need to focus on the profitability of the agency to be able to sustain yourself and to also scale. So that's my only advice, that don't compromise on anything, and keep a watch on your cost overheads.
Great. Prasad?
Difficult, but you know what? I think what my advice would be is that no network company is going to, don't start considering that I will sell it to someone else, because many people who say that itna bada hoke bechunga. Seriously, okay, that's not going to happen. It's a tough business. It's absolutely tough business, especially in media agency, that we are talking about. It's absolutely tough. It's not going to happen, okay, because their parameters have changed a lot, right? So don't start thinking that thoda bada karke bechunga, okay, right? At the same time, I think one mantra that I think, Shradha, I resonate with you. Big is beautiful. It has to be scaled. हवा का झोंका आके सब चीज़ें उधर उधर हो जाती है. You don't have, it cannot be boutique one. It is absolutely cannot be boutique one. One account here and there, okay, and you start losing your sleep. It is not possible. I say मेरे को लगता है I could be wrong.
Fantastic, Prasad. On that note of big is beautiful, we'll end this panel. And we hope that brands continue supporting and backing independent agencies. Independent agencies put up a united front when it comes to remuneration. That's extremely important. And more agency founders remain swatantra and strong as we go ahead.
If there are brands here, I really want, okay, हम लोग बोलते हैं local, vocal, all that stuff. I think we should meet brands and say that, India talent hai. Somehow we have to get together and do that. Yeah, seriously. Yes.
Great. Thank you so
you.
much.
Mr.
Thank you,
Balsara
everyone.
is a living example of an independent Indian agency who took on the global powers. I have always admired him for this.
I think